You don't have time. That's not poetry. That's physics. Entropy doesn't negotiate. Every trick is decay. Every day you delay is compounding cost. If you're not building toward autonomy, creating your own path, then your choices aren't even yours. They're automatic, programmed for survival. You're a robot following the secure road someone else paid for you. This video is the exact opposite of that. This is a framework, not a plan. Plans assume a future you don't control. Frameworks let you adapt, compress, and compound no matter what hits. So regardless if life happens, you already strategized and designed the systems to prepare you for what if anything that happens in life. You are strategizing towards the future, priming yourself for the future, prepping yourself for the future. I built the one-person framework to overcome a simple problem. How does a single human without pedigree, permission, or payroll create disproportionate value, profit, and freedom? You'll find no fantasies here, just structure, ritual, leverage, decisions that scale, work that compounds, and a soul that refuses to sell itself for scraps. Framework, this is the radical definition of framework. Framework equals frame plus work. It is the structure that makes effort multiply. In physics, frames distribute force. In life, frameworks distribute attention. In business, frameworks distribute energy into outcomes. Plans are promises. Routines are habits. Frameworks are architecture. Architecture outlives mood, outlives motivation, outlives the day you fail. A true framework turns our 1 hour of your focused effort into permanent infrastructure. A page indexed, a product shipped, a process automated, a system selling while you sleep. Here is a rule. If an action doesn't create or strengthen a framework, it's a task. Task feed today. Frameworks feed forever. Here are some truth bombs you can post on your wall. A business without a framework isn't a business, it's a gamble. Motivation is a rumor. Structure is reality. If your work doesn't compound, it consumes you. I refuse a 9-to-5. I'm not saying that 9-to-5s are bad. I'm not saying that you should quit your job. But what I am saying is don't depend on your 9-to-5. I was never a good employee. Never a good worker for any job that I worked at. I had some jobs that I liked, that I loved, but at the end of the day, in the back of my mind, I wanted more. And what I wanted was more freedom, more wealth, more control. And I wanted to always work for myself. So I built, to flip the 9-to-5, I built the 3-to-5. Every morning from 3 to 5 a.m. I write. I know this is not cute, it's not productivity aesthetics, but it's a pact with the void. Facing the void, facing your internal self, your shadow, your dark desires. 3 to 5 a.m. is 2 sacred hours where I stress test reality. I sit with pain. I sort signals from noise. I surface patterns, incentives, trade-offs, and traps. I transmit what's in my head to the page so it can evolve. These hours are a black site for clarity. No audience, no applause, just questions that cut. What am I pretending not to know? Where am I trading autonomy for comfort? What did yesterday prove about my system? What deserves to be built once then reused forever? 3 to 5 is myth in machine. The ritual makes the writer, the output powers the empire. From these pages comes products, scripts, captions, and systems. From these hours comes leverage. You either face your shadow in the dark or it rules you in the light. This is how we're going to shatter illusions. Jobs equal identity. No. Jobs are tools. Take the capital, skills, and networks. Leave the cage. A job is a fuel line, not a fate. Here's another illusion. Business plans prevent failure. Most plans are quicksand, thought loops that simulate progress and delay action. Systems beat scripts. Frameworks over forecasts. Another illusion. Hard work is the answer. In physics, work equals force times distance times cosine of theta. Work is the energy transferred when a force moves an object. Force, the push or pull applied to the object. Distance, how far the object moves. Cosine of theta. The cosine of the angle, which is theta, between the force and the direction of movement. This formula calculates the component of the force that actually does work in moving the object in a specific direction. This is how physics explains work. So push in the wrong direction, zero work. Burn your life on the wrong vector, exhaustion with no movement. Leverage is aligning force with the right direction, then letting structure extend distance. Here's another illusion. Safety is real. Security without sovereignty is servitude. If your income depends on one boss, one platform, one algorithm, one client, you're fragile. Build optionality. If you're not building toward autonomy, you're a robot running someone else's code. Here's another illusion. Number 5. People owe you loyalty. People don't owe you loyalty. They don't. Business will be brutal. You will lose friends, sleep, maybe even pieces of yourself. But if you build right, what you won't lose is your peace, your soul, and your future, most of all. Well, they're all, I guess you could say, equally important. So I don't know most of all, but your peace, your soul, and your futures, they're all very, very significant. Because real business isn't just wealth building, it's soul building. It's daily confrontation with the void, with pain, with inevitable problems. Betting on yourself is the only bet that matters. I want you all to acknowledge that. I want you all to really, really get a deep understanding of what I'm saying, how spiritual entrepreneurship is and building a business is. Building to create money, more profit, wealth for yourself is an exceptional spiritual practice. I will argue it is the most spiritual practice that a human being can engage in. I would argue it's more than praying, it's more than going to church, it's more than just so-called just talking to God. It is literally being a mad scientist, identifying the patterns in the world, connecting the dots, and then building an alignment of the future for yourself and for mankind and for the future of this world, so everybody in the globe and so on for generations to come can evolve. That's evolution. What is more spiritual than evolution? What is more than doing the God's work than building for the future of the evolution of humans? If money wasn't there to incentivize us to do this, then would anybody push forward to build towards any kind of pain? This is another thing. Pain is so significant for our survival because it keeps us in check. It reminds us that we have to build, we have to create, we have to develop, we have to most of all evolve. That's why personal evolution is my philosophy. It is my core brand. It is the center point around everything that I'm building. Utopia is the conglomerate. Personal evolution is the brand, the philosophy. The Ubermensch is the apex. That's the North Star. That is what I'm aiming towards. But I also know what my vision is, but I also acknowledge and remind myself of my anti-vision. More than my vision. Because acknowledging what I don't want, the anti-self, the anti-Dante, it pushes me more towards of where I want to be, who I want to be. So don't fall into the trap of thinking people owe you loyalty. They don't. Think like an athlete. Speak from existence. I have to put this in there. Greatness demands self-control, self-discipline, and soul protection. These are non-negotiables. Without them, you won't last. In hiring, forget the old game of the empire building headcount. You don't need 50 employees. You need 1 to 3 killers. 1 to 3 polymaths, masters, consultants, people smarter than you, sharper than you, who trust your vision and amplify it. Imagine 3 master consultants in tech, writing, and marketing paired with AI leverage. No one can match your authenticity. No one can match your brand of what you're building. This is how we're going to rewrite your mental operating system. Through work, job, duty, earning, profit, wealth, we're going to identify each one. Work. We're not talking about working with hours. We're talking about transformations created. If your output can't be reused, referenced, or resold, it's labor, not work. So identify that, acknowledge that. Acknowledge what work actually is. The key point is transformation. Job. Job is a socket to extract skills, capital. Use it, don't be used by it. Jobs, I'll say that again, jobs is a socket to extract skills and capital. To extract skills and capital, extract. So use it. Use that. Don't be used by that. You get what I'm saying? You don't want to just be a slave to a job that is completely extracting you of your skills and your capital. If you can use that same avenue that's extracting your skills and your capital, you can use it for your leverage. Duty. What is duty? Self-ownership. This is one of my favorite terms, favorite words. I like the idea. I like what duty actually is. I think a lot of people overlook what duty actually is. And duty, again, is very spiritual. And duty goes with your entrepreneurship. Duty and work is 2 different things. Duty is self-ownership, the discipline to do what future you will thank you for, especially when present you resists. Earning. Capturing a fraction of the value you cause. If you're not earning, either your value is unclear or your capture mechanism is broken. Profit. Surplus energy, money, time, and attention left after cost. Profit is oxygen. You can't think without it. Wealth. Probably the most important. Wealth is stored leverage that compounds. Assets, skills, systems, audience, brand, trust. Wealth is autonomy on a time delay. Profit buys today. Wealth buys tomorrow. Autonomy buys forever. The 3-point micro business model. Check this out. This is the starter kit, the skeleton key. 3 proven simple actionable steps to launch your 1-person framework today. Stick it out without answers. You don't need to hold clarity when you start. Begin moving. Begin building. Clarity is a byproduct of motion, not a prerequisite. Write, repurpose, repeat. Start a newsletter. Condense it into a thread. Repurpose it into a carousel. Distribute across platforms. Track what performs. Then pour it back into the newsletter. Do this for years and years and years. Out of this, a philosophy emerges. My philosophy is personal evolution. This is what I'm currently building. This is what I'm currently instilling, the psychological aspect, my philosophy into your brains, and I'm going to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it because you are going to know exactly what I am about. Face reality. Confront your pain. Build relentlessly to overcome it and evolve. Focus on value. Not value as the market uses it. That's vague. Value is, but here's how I would like to perceive as value. Value is infinite reliability, a product, service, or system that keeps helping, keeps evolving, keeps simplifying life. Value equals survival plus growth. That's my definition of value. My definition of value is evolution itself. That's the way I look at it. Because here's the thing, it's something really, really, and I know economists and business owners, entrepreneurs, creators, a lot of people say that value is subjective. Yes, it is subjective, but I also like to look at it that not all value is the same. There is different types of value. And the value that I am talking about, the value that I am more focused on, is the value of evolution. Because that is something that we all can benefit from. We all can't benefit off subjectivity. But if I can stress that maybe value, there is a type of value that's objective, where we can acknowledge and recognize that and be like, we all can benefit from this. Like we all can benefit from water. We all value water because we need it. Some people value diamonds more than they value water, but that's subjective. You get what I'm saying? Because the best stories aren't where the heroes gets what they want. The best stories are when the hero transforms to get what they want. People are addicted to watching transformation. This is what I mean by evolution. People are addicted to watching transformation. That's why evolution is the center of everything I do. And it's why the one-person framework is not just about income. It's about the Übermensch. What is the Übermensch? I talked about this in the last video. The Übermensch is a term that Friedrich Nietzsche wrote in his books, wrote in his philosophy. The Übermensch in Friedrich Nietzsche's philosophy is called the Overman. The Übermensch of what I am identifying it as, same thing. I'm just putting it into my own translation, my own words, for my own brand, my own company. It's my North Star. The Übermensch is the apex of human evolution in my North Star. Distribution equals freedom. Mental monopoly equals ownership of your lane. Without professionalization, your revenue will always be capped. Profit. I want to identify profit. I want to identify wealth. I want to give you a distinction between the two. They're both very, very significant, and you need both, but one comes after the other. Profit is kinetic energy, flowing revenue from a thing you did that worked. You need it early to breathe, improve the motto. Wealth is potential energy, stored systems that keep paying you. You need it to stop trading time. Wealth buys you back time. Wealth is essential. Sequence it. Spark, build, fortify, evolve. Spark, earn profit quickly to validate demand. Boom. Build, reinvest into systems, assets that compound, audience, email list, product library, automations. Before I move on, there was something about a story about Elon Musk. I was researching, I was doing some reading on and listening to some videos on about Elon Musk. Elon Musk, and this goes with building. When, like I said, reinvest into systems, assets that compound. Elon Musk, what he did was every single time when he will earn his money, he will use that money that he has and that money that he earned from one of his companies, and he will put it into another company. He will keep putting money, capital, into all of his companies. And he kept doing it, and he's still doing it. And this is why his company, well, that's not the main reason why, but this is one of the reasons why his companies are always evolving. And his wealth is always evolving. So build, reinvest in systems, assets that compounds. For me starting off, audience, email list, product library, automations. Automations is forever going to be there. Fortify, reduce dependency on any any single client, platform, or algorithm. Reduce your dependency. Fortify. Evolve. Use the time. Wealth unlocks to level up the builder. Skills, philosophy, health, relationships. Rule of 20. Allocate 20% of every dollar and every hour to compounding assets. This goes back to what I'm talking about, the Elon Musk. Compounding assets, writing library, list group, product improvement, automations. That 20% becomes your future salary. See what I'm saying? This is all connecting. Everything I talk about, every newsletter, every video, it all connects. Profit is the spark that lights the fire. Wealth is the hearth that keeps it burning when the storm hits. I have this idea of aircraft codex and building, and this is in phrase, building yourself to fly. What does that mean? There's a story real quick short story, personal story. I almost went to school to become an aircraft mechanic technician. Then I realized something. I don't need to just work on planes, which I still kind of have a curiosity in doing that in the future after I'm done building my business, because I do want to learn those skills. So I probably more than likely still am going to go to AMT school, but not right now. My business is my priority. Building this business is my priority, because I also do want to have a private jet plane business, etc., 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 but way down the line. Anyways, but I realized something. I don't need to just work on planes. I need to be one. I need to be a plane. Your one-person framework is your aircraft. And just like an aircraft, if one piece fails, the whole system fails. So think about this. The diagram of the plane. I'll put it on the screen for you to see. The cockpit equals the mind. Leadership of self. If the cockpit is clouded with lies, excuses, or fear, what happens? You crash. You can't fly higher than your clarity. You can't out-earn yourself. Deception. Here is a truth bomb for you. If you can't lead yourself, you can't lift off. Right engine equals creation, marketing, content. Thrust comes from making your ideas visible. letters, products, videos, systems. If you stop creating, what happens? Your engine's cut. The plane stalls. Left engine, conversion equals conversion. The left engine equals conversion. Sales, offers. One engine spinning alone makes you spiral. Marketing without sales burns fuel. Sales without marketing is silence. Both engines must fire in sync. You see what I'm saying? Wings equals frameworks. Products, systems. Thrust means nothing without lift. Wings are your frameworks, the systems that catch air and keep you up. No frameworks means no lift. You stay on the ground no matter how hard you push. Fuselage. This is the body. Discipline and operations. The body holds everything together. Weak discipline, sloppy operations, scatter focus equals drag that rips you apart midair. You see what I'm saying? Dark mode is the body. Unsexy, but essential. Speaking of dark mode, the dark mode guide, I have the dark mode guide in the description. Your fuselage is your discipline, weak body, your plane breaks apart midair. The dark mode guide is the reinforcement manual. It shows you how to build silence, focus, and structure into weapons. So this will help you. The dark mode guide will help you keep you intact so you won't rip apart. Fuel tanks equals profit and cash flow. Engines need fuel. You need surplus energy. Without profit, without cash flow, you fell out of the sky no matter what. How well the engines hum. So it doesn't matter. Landing gear equals adaptability. Takeoff is easy, landing is survival. Most people can't land, they burn out, crash their health, blow up their systems. Adaptability is what lets you land, rest, pivot, and take off again stronger. Building yourself as the aircraft is not metaphor, it's engineering. Every piece must be inspected. Every part must hold under pressure. Because one crack in the fuselage, one dry tank, one dead engine, and you don't get to pivot. You nosedive. The one-person framework is your flight plan to autonomy. You either design yourself to fly or you ride in the cargo hold of someone else's plane with no control over where you land. So are you piloting or are you cargo? Think about this. Let this marinate into your mind. The aircraft Codex is every one person framework is built to fly or crash. That's the whole idea of it. The one person pathway. So we got the template, system, studio. Now we'll turn this into a repeatable staircase. Think about this. Proof of value. Offer deep help to one person with a painful, measurable outcome. Price for the skin of the game. That's going to be your premium. That's the premium. Deliver transformation. Record the process. Save every asset. So think about some of that stuff. The group program, less time, more clients. Productize the curriculum. You repeat it. So maybe about 68 weeks, weekly sessions. You have weekly sessions. Assets will be delivered. Build repeatable checklists, worksheets, dashboards. And then your digital products is stage 3. So stage 3, here's your digital products. Asynchronous leverage. Convert curriculum into self-serve formats. Courses, guides, toolkits, templates. Bundle light plus premium versions. So you can have a bundle plus your premium versions. Add email onboarding and evergreen campaigns. AI compression, stage 4. Maintain momentum in 4 hours a day. Train an internal AI on your library, not generic prompts, but use it to draft, repurpose, outline. Use it to draft, repurpose, and outline, tag ideas, and propose variations. You will always remain the editor while you're using AI. The system keeps shipping when your brain is fried. So even when you're tired or you're sleeping, this system is going to always keep going when you use AI, automate AI to help automate your systems. Stage 5, media plus list engine. This is audience compounding. Your weekly letter, your email list, and you build own distributions. Your weekly letter, daily short. You'll have your weekly letter, your daily short, and your evergreen library. Your email list becomes your bank. Monetize at least about maybe whatever you want to decide, but just to get a number in your head, just for metaphorically speaking, $1 to $3 per sub per month. Average with offers, affiliates, and launches. So right now I'm currently working on affiliating with Amazon, and I really don't like that I'm doing it, but I'm finding ways how I can add profit into my business, keep the engine going, to keep the engine running, and also it's a lot of ways that a lot of founders start. A lot of ways a lot of creators start. So, but that's not the only thing I'm doing for me to start bringing profit and revenue into my businesses. Stage 6, the studio model, portfolio of micro brands. Each product line can graduate into a micro brand under your own umbrella, but only when the mothership is stable. Shared back office. Here's identity, ops, analytics, design, language, glyphs, tone. So don't scale chaos. Systemize, then multiply. Your calendar is a ledger of your leverage. Before you hire, automate. Before you automate, simplify. Most one-person businesses fail not from lack of ideas, but from lack of professionalization. Professionalization doesn't mean corporate jargon or ties or HR manuals. It means building systems that make your work repeatable, reliable, and scalable. Without it, you're just hustling. With it, you're building an institution, even as one person. What professionalization looks like? This is what it looks like. Finance, operations, products, brand, distribution, legal, and IP. Finance. This is your field discipline. Separate accounts. Track cash flow weekly. Know your burn rate and your surplus. Treat every dollar as fuel allocations, not just income. Your operations fuselage, integrity. Your calendar is your cockpit. Your workflows are your fuselage. If you can't see your priorities at a glance, you're flying blind. Products. This is your wing strength. No half-baked offers. Every product has clear packaging, pricing, proof, and a built-in upgrade path. A wing that isn't engineered rips off under stress. Brand. This is your tail and stability. Consistency in visuals, tone, glyphs, and message. A stable tail keeps you from spinning out. Without brand stability, your audience can't trust your direction. Distribution is the engine rhythm. Reliability beats virality. A weekly cadence of publishing compounds more than random bursts of genius. An engine that sputters dies. Your legal and IP black box protect your assets. Contracts, rights. This comes later. Registration is your black box. This preserves your creation even if you crash. So that's something I'm kind of struggling with, because I don't really think that actually, even though I said it and I wrote it, I don't really think it matters that much when you're consistently posting and you're consistently building. People are psychologically in your psyche are already going to know who you are and what you're about, what your brand is. So I don't really think you have to be so big on protecting everything you put out, because the strategy is you are in people's heads, and however people identify you as in their heads, that's your contract right there. That's your asset being protected right there. Those are your rights and those are your registrations. Of the experience model, you are the customer avatar. You don't need to speculate about niches. You are the niche. You are the test subject. Stop searching for an abstract problem to solve. Start with your own pain. Set a real goal you obsess over. Document your journey, the pain you faced, the trade-offs you endured to overcome it. What confused you? Where you wasted time? What finally worked? And why the benefit outweighed the cost? The record becomes your blueprint. The struggle becomes your framework. Then package the better alternative towards that pain. Hand it to anyone below you so they can climb faster than you did. Study your life like a scientist. Package your frameworks like a designer. Sell them like a poet. This is how you avoid faking expertise. You're not preaching, you're reporting from the front. So the experience model is that you are the customer avatar. Set a real goal you obsess over. I'm going to repeat this. Document your pain and the trade-off that was required to overcome that pain. What confused you? Where you wasted time? What finally worked? The benefit over that. Package the better alternative. Study your life like a scientist. Package your frameworks like a designer. Sell them. Systems that print, not perform. Systems that print money and not perform. Performance is temporary. Systems print indefinitely. Build these. Writing engine. This is my 3 to 5 a.m. The writing engine. That's where it starts. 10 ideas a week. Capture, distill, expand, automize. So capturing your notes, distilling the headlines, expanding into letters, automize threads, clips, emails, etc. Create a master topic map. 3 pillars times principles times stories times proofs. Everything routes through the writing engine, through my writing engine. Product engine. Quarterly release cadence. Flagship guides, toolkits, courses, cohort workshops. This is when you do this. You will do these in sequence orders. You'll come up with these ideas. Everything is starting with the writing, and you can just keep reformatting it. Each release taps the same core framework, deeper or wider. Build upgrade paths and bundles. So as you're pricing stuff and you're having clients, buyers, then you can bundle things, and then you can put a premium price tag on it. And then because you got the people's trust, you got their loyalty. So you see what I'm saying? It's all a game, to be honest with you, and it's all trial and error. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm focusing on building. Your distribution engine. This is the owned in the borrowed. Owned plus borrowed. Owned. Your site, email, product, library, SMS, which is optional. If you want to talk to your clients through texting and stuff. I don't really think I want to do that, but emailing and my product library is what I'm more focused on. And what I mean by borrowed, because it's your distribution engine, I'm saying owned plus borrowed equals your distribution engine. And borrowed, what I mean is things that you don't really own. Your own, what you own is your site, your email list, your product library, those numbers that you have. That's what you own. Nobody, no company, no brand, no business can tell you otherwise. But you do. But when you're talking about social media platforms like X, Threads, IG, YouTube, podcasts, and all those other things, all those other social media platforms, that's borrowed distribution. You want to focus on creating your own distribution. That's the freedom right there, and that's where the real wealth, the ultimate wealth comes from. Okay. Not saying that you don't want to use borrow. Like I said, it's owned plus borrow. But know which one you really want to aim towards. And know which one this is where you really got the most control. And you get to pocket more profit. Your weekly rhythm will be one long letter, plus 3 to 5 shorts, plus one repurposed thread. Here's your analytics engine. Make reality visible. Inputs, writing hours, published cadence. Outputs, list growth, sales, retention. Decisions, double down on channels, products that punch above weights. If you can't see it, you can't steer it. Here is the autonomy stack. Minimalism that scales. 98% margin happens when you remove drag. No employees, no office, no inventory, no ad spend, minimal software. So you don't need I'll say no employees until systems break under load repeatedly. So unless your systems is breaking or whatever, then you can consider hiring employees or hiring people, other people to come on your board. But like I mentioned earlier before, you have 3 masters, polymaths, who are much more smarter than you. And in this age, I think that's all you will ever need. So complexity is a costume people wear to look important. If a tool doesn't pay for itself in 30 to 60 days, I think I should just cut it. So that's one of my rules. Here is the community gravity. Audience is an asset. You don't get an audience. You earn one by being useful, true, and consistent. I talked about this early in this video. Build gravity. Consistency is the daily presence, weekly depth. Clarity. Say one thing 10,000 ways, not 10,000 things one way. You see what I'm saying? I'm working on this all the time. Everything doesn't have to be new. It can just be new on how you say it. Get what I'm saying? Because if you're speaking the truth, you're speaking the truth. There's only so much truths out there. And there's overwhelming garbage. Care. Show your buyers that you care. Answer the DMs. If people are writing you and commenting, stop what you're doing and comment back. That is a potential buyer. That is a person who is engaging your content. Earn trust like oxygen. Challenge. Don't flatter. Confront. People remember who woke them up. I'm saying this because I'm challenge your audience. You don't have to be a yes man and be politically correct. If you watch all my videos, you know I'm not politically correct at all. I'm not disrespectful, but I am going to be honest and be truthful and speak the truth unapologetically. I don't care, because I know what's much more important is being a radical, finding the truth, finding the facts, finding the data, the accurate data, finding the empirical evidence, and pushing it out there. If that's what you want to be known for, if you want to be known for as a BSer, then be known as a BSer. I want to be known as a truth seeker, as an authentic creator. Here is something that you need to consider that I've already mentioned many times before, but AI is an amplifier, not your author. Okay? So think about that. I'm talking about like when you're writing. So when you're writing, don't just have AI write for you. Have it amplify what you're writing. Have it help you with your writing. Have it find more. Have AI challenge you're writing. So before I kind of say this in a more simple way, I'll just tell you kind of give you a little of what I do with my writing process. So you already know about my 3 to 5 a.m. writing 3 to 5 a.m. And you also already know about my 3-sheet method. Wake up every morning, write one page with my emotions, how I'm feeling, whatever I'm thinking, whatever my thoughts are, whatever, and then I draw, and then I practice math, arithmetic specifically. But when I'm writing the newsletters, whatever topic that I'm writing on that week, and these aren't random topics. I want everything to do what I want everything to be a strategy and to be in alignment with my ultimate vision, not just randomly doing stuff. But as I'm writing, I don't even do the research first. I just write whatever I have an idea or what I think what this is about. So I challenge my mind. What is this? Without doing research, without anything, reading, listening to audiobooks. Challenge Dante. What is Dante? How can I stress myself to write about something without any research, without anything about the topic that I don't really know, don't really understand? And then I do that. Okay, so I'll have that nice long letter written out. Very, very, very rough draft. Doesn't make any sense. It makes sense to me because I wrote it, but sometimes it wouldn't make sense to me. Terrible, terrible draft. And then I feed the AI my letter, my transcripts, my prompts, my frameworks. Then I ask it to propose outlines, angles, sequences, tags, not to be you. So what I'm saying is that I will feed it. I will feed AI what I'm writing, and then I'll also tell it to be disagreeable. I'll say, be disagreeable with me. Don't just agree with me. Be disagreeable with me. And then after I see what it gave me, and then I go find. I mentioned to you before about how to find a deep meaning of something. The triangle, and the triangle can help you to understand things on a deeper level. And what you can do with this triangle is just 3 things. So find three podcasts, 3 top podcasts in that field, 3 top books in that field, 3 top courses in that field, 3 top authors in that field, that you're writing about, and then see what they're talking about. Still from them, repurpose it into your own language, and then put that into your letter as well. That's just a little rough phase of what I do with my writing. Okay, and this is how I use it. I use AI to amplify my writing as well. Because whenever I'm writing, I want it to just be truthful above all. And I know persuasion is very important because you got to be able to make what you're talking about interesting to your readers, to your viewers. And that is very important because regardless if you tell the truth or not, if people aren't born to watch and listen, and it doesn't matter, or read, or it doesn't matter, you got to make it interesting, got to be persuasive. But I would not make that the main priority. Maybe that's wrong. I don't know. But I want truth to be my main priority. Not neglecting persuasion and being interesting at all. Not. But I still kind of wrestle with persuasion, facts. I want to put them both together. I don't want them to be one or the other. I want them to be tied in. So maybe I can come up with some type of philosophy or system of when it comes to being persuasive and interesting and being truthful and factual. And that's why I created Red Pill, Dark Mode, Evolution. And before even Red Pill even happens, I have the Void. You know, before you can even acknowledge reality, you gotta acknowledge the darker reality of yourself before I even try to acknowledge the reality around me. So you got the Void, then you got the Red Pill, which is reality, and then you got Dark Mode because you are in the pain lab. Red Pill is the pain lab. I know I have a lot of backlash when I use Red Pill, and when I'm on TikTok, a lot of people are upset with me of using Red Pill because, you know, you get into politics and all that stuff. I don't care about politics. I go to school for economics, but economics is my forte. Politics isn't. I can give a damn about politicians. I can give a damn about most of our presidents. I can give a damn about the government, really, to be honest with you. I don't really care about any of that stuff. I care about entrepreneurship. I care about building. I care about economics. Economics is where I'm getting at. So the red pill is the economics. It is the reality. It's the study of reality. Red pill is the pain lab. Pain is life's greatest teacher. So before I even, like I said, before I even get to red pill, I'm facing the void. That's the 35 a.m. writer. The 35 a.m. writer is me facing the void, me using my imagination, me tapping into my imagination, me tapping into my creative outlets, my creativity. And then I'm building, I'm writing, and I don't care about anything. I'm not judging anything. I am kind of being judging, but I'm using good judgment, and I'm allowing everything to flow through me into the paper, the pen and paper. I write by hand with the 35 a.m. with the 3-sheet method, writing by hand. I don't care. I just write it all over the paper. It doesn't make any sense, but I'm getting it all out. I'm filtering, and then I do that. Then I can take the red pill. And I'm experiencing pain. I'm acknowledging the pain points, the problems, what's going on in my life, what's going on in my world, what's going on outside me. Now I face what's internally. Now I'm facing externally. What pain points am I missing? What pain am I ignoring? Am I not acknowledging? Because so many of us can go through pain and what we can suffer because we're suffering because we are not acknowledging our pain. Get what I'm saying? It could be like you probably got cancer, but you don't want to go to the doctor. Or you got a disease, you don't want to go to the doctor. You want to ignore. You might see these symptoms, you want to ignore them. I had this problem way before, a long time ago. I've had symptoms and I was like so afraid of diseases. I was so afraid of cancer. So afraid of incurable diseases. Hence, that's why I'm building Growth, GROW+H. That's a whole different brand, business that I'm building, products that I'm building. But I won't say a whole different because, like I said, all my businesses are aligned with the evolution utopia. But not to get off topic. But what I'm saying is that I forgot what I was talking about, but I'm facing the void, and then the reality, and then the fears, the horrors, the terrors of what I'm facing, and then I build to overcome that pain. So I obsessively, and now after I took the red pill, because that's the pain lab, that's what I call the pain lab. Pain is life's greatest teacher. And then when I identify the pain around me, and then now I can okay, I can obsessively build now. I have to be darker than the pain that I am experiencing. So I won't suffer, because pain and suffering is two different things. I want you guys to take note of that. You're suffering because you're not acknowledging your pain. Acknowledge that. Acknowledge your pain so you won't have to suffer. Okay? And then, so you're like, oh, what do you mean? I acknowledge my pain. My pain is still here. What is the alternative? I'm glad you asked. What is the alternative? We're not talking about solutions here. We're talking about better alternatives, trade-offs. There are no such thing as solutions. There are only trade-offs. Thomas Sowell said that. And what is the trade-off? What is the better alternative? That's why we enter dark mode. What is dark mode? Dark mode is the obsessive, relentless commitment to build, to stress test yourself, to focus, hyper-focus, deep work, intense concentration on building to overcome your pain. And you stay in dark mode until you figure it out. Figuring it out is something, what I said before, I wrote about it. I said figuring it out is the greatest skill that a human being can have. Because no matter what happens in your life, you can figure it out. And dark mode, that's what it's all about. I am in the lab. I am in the pain lab, and I have entered dark mode internally, and I am not going to leave until I overcome this pain point. So in the world is your library. The world is your lab. You are the scientist. You have entered the void. You have took the red pill. You're in the pain lab, and now you have transformed into dark mode. And then after you figure it out, after you overcome that pain, you have evolved. Personal evolution. That's the brand. That's the core philosophy. And like I said, you keep going. The North Star is the Übermensch. And all of this is under utopia. That's the triangle. Here's the discipline of reality. Red pill, dark mode, evolve. Red pill, C. Decode incentives, track hidden costs, tell the truth even when it undercuts your ego. This is the beauty, this is the value of red pill. Questions. This is what the questions you're going to ask yourself. What am I optimizing for? At what cost? According to whom? This is what you're asking yourself when you take the red pill. That's why I said C. Red pill is C. Dark mode, which is do. This is, like I said, as I mentioned this before, this is the obsession. The obsession of you entering dark mode in your deep work. Remove the noise, instill rituals, protect deep work. Obsess. You are distraction less. No distractions. Here's some questions that you can ask yourself. What can I remove to make the right action inevitable? What can I remove to make the right action inevitable? That's dark mode. Evolve. Become. See, do, become. Evolve. Reinvest. Surplus into skills, systems, and soul. Expand capacity. Here's your questions that you can ask yourself. What does the next version of me do by default? Think about that. What does the next version of me do by default? You're not here to be liked. You're here to become undeniable. You're not here to be liked. You're here to become undeniable. So make sure you distinct the wrong game between the framework game. What's the wrong game? Chasing trends, platforms, drama, hacks, approvals, vanity metrics. What's the framework game? Solving persistent pains with architecture that endures and expands. Now, I don't like using the word solve, but I just use the word solve so you can understand what I'm saying. So I will say in my own terms, my own language, lingo, even though I didn't write all this and put this in there, find trade-offs that are persistent to your pain point with architecture that endures and expands. So for every time when you hear the word solution or see solution, just reframe it to a trade-off, because there's no such thing as solutions. Solutions to me is like perfect. It can't be reiterated. It can't be refined. It can't be redesigned. It can't get better. Forget all that. It can't get better. And I think everything in life can get better. So there's no solutions. It's not perfect. It will never be perfect. It will never be a solution. You can aim towards it, but don't kid yourself to saying that this is it. It's a solution. It's not. Okay? Most people. I want to say this. So check yourself. How can you check yourself? Ask yourself more questions. Are you building assets or moments? Questions are important. Are you building assets or moments? Are you accumulating proof or excuses? Do your actions survive your mood? Most people don't start businesses. They start distractions. But when you enter dark mode, you will be immune to distractions. Believe me, I promise you. Dark mode is a very powerful culture that you can immerse yourself in. Here's your kill list. Kill anything that doesn't increase autonomy this quarter. In business, they have something called kill the darlings. And killing the darlings is killing anything that doesn't contribute to the wealth, to the profit of that business. If it's not, if this product is not bringing in money, if it's not an asset, it's a liability. Kill it. So kill anything that doesn't increase your autonomy. Think about that. Here are some common failure loops. Momentum beats mastery. Mastery emerges from momentum. There are two trades on the table. Gain the whole world, lose your soul, or you can build your soul, then build your world. Avoid the loop, the endless research. Make your version. Make the first version. Make version 0.1 in 48 hours. So just build the damn product and then sell it. It's going to look crappy. It's going to look dumb. But we are building the momentum. So like I said, get out of that loop. Like I said, endless research. Oh, it's got to be perfect. I got to do all this research to write this newsletter, to write this book. So, bro, just be okay with failure. Be okay with being wrong. Be okay with being broken. Like I said before, start with what's broken. I am coming up with all of these phrases and these terms to really register, to try to register into your psyche, to just go and do. You will learn as you go. That's literally what a scientist does. Be okay. Get rid of your ego. Know that you're going to look like a fool and you're going to be wrong. Start with what's broken. There is nothing more influential and inspiring than that. And especially for people who doesn't have the courage to do it, and they're witnessing you do it. And you're going to look like a courageous leader in the eyes of the people who don't. You are going to look like a courageous leader in the eyes of the people who don't. Listen to the context of what I'm saying. So like I said, make version 0.1 in 48 hours, sell it. Here's the loop. New tools every week. How you exit that loop. Lock your stack for 90 days. Here's another loop. Fear of charging. How you exit that loop. Minimum valuable offer. Charge low to learn. Raise with proof. Here's another loop. Inconsistent posting. How do you exit that loop? 30-day scheduler. Batch on Sundays. AI assist for prompts only. You see what I'm saying? Here's another loop for you. Client treadmill. How do you exit that loop? Productize publicly. Migrate your process into a paid asset. Momentum beats mastery. Mastery emerges from momentum. Momentum beats mastery. Mastery emerges from momentum. You get what I'm saying? Here is something where I like to get a little bit spiritual and a little depth and touchy with you. Because entrepreneurship, like I mentioned earlier, is very, very spiritual. Making money, creating money is very spiritual. Spiritual practice. I think it's the best. Wealth so in the line you won't cross. There are two trades on the table. I know you heard the phrase, the quote says, gain the whole world, lose your soul. Don't gain the whole world, lose your soul. I will say, build your soul, then build your world. Build your soul, then build your world. Choose the second. Wealth is a byproduct of alignment, truth telling, value creation, and vows you won't break. You can be loved or hated. Be useful either way. Mystery scales better than mimicry. If your principles don't cost you, they aren't principles. You hear me? Here is a 30-day autonomy sprint for yourself that you can take to action right now. Day 1 to 2. Choose your pain to overcome. Make it specific enough to sell. Day 3 to 7. Design your minimum value offer. 4 calls, 1 outcome, 1 page. Day 8 through 14. Start your writing engine. 3 to 5 daily. That's 3 to 5 a.m. writer. Or your equivalent. You don't have to get up at 3 to 5. You don't have to get up at 3 a.m. You can do it any time of the day, whatever you feel suitable for you to do. I just like 3 to 5 a.m. because it's a spiritual practice and it's sacred hours. It is in the dark, and I like building in the dark. But anyway, 10 ideas, 3 posts, 1 thread. Day 8 through 14. Day 15 through 21. Enroll 1 to 3 clients. DM, call, invoice, deliver, transformation, save every asset. Day 22 through 28. Build the product from the assets you just used. Guide, toolkit, workshop. Day 29. Email your list. Or start 1 with the offer. Day 30. Debrief and schedule. The next 30 days, raise rates, improve product, repeat. Repeat this cycle. You're either evolving or you're decaying. There is no middle. If you want to stop living as a program survivor, build the architecture of a sovereign. Write in the dark, tell the truth, productize your proof, design systems that keep paying your future self, use tools, don't become one. Autonomy is not a mood, it's a model. Every framework needs reinforcement. Your discipline is the fuselage, the body holding everything together. If it's weak, you break apart midair. Build your aircraft, reinforce your fuselage, stop being cargo, start flying. And that's the end of the video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I want you all to have a very great day. Dark Mode Guide is in the description, and yeah, grab it and let me know how you feel about that, what you think of it, and have a great day.